Welcome back second year to the third video lesson of the healthy organs topic. Take some time to refamiliarise yourself with the icons on this slide because you'll be seeing them throughout this video. Today we are going to finish the second part of the lesson on the heart. So in your jotters put today's date in the margin please, and I want you to take blood vessels as the title.
In our last video, we introduced the circulatory system, and saw how the heart acts as the system's pump. In this video though, we'll take a closer look at the blood vessels, specifically the arteries, capillaries, and veins. To quickly summarize, the arteries carry blood away from the heart. The capillaries exchange nutrients and oxygen with the tissues, and veins carry the blood back to the heart. As you take a closer look at each, the key thing to notice is how the structure of each type of vessel is related to its function. As arteries carry blood directly from the heart, the blood inside them is going to be at really high pressures, because it's just been pumped out of the ventricles. In order to bear these high pressures, the arteries need to be both strong and elastic. And to achieve this, they have a thick layer of muscle tissue to keep them strong, and a thick layer of elastic tissue so that they can stretch and recoil. These two layers, though, mean that the wall of the artery is quite thick when compared to its lumen, which is what we call the hole or space in the middle of the vessel. Once the arteries have transported the blood to the different parts of the body, it enters the capillaries. These vessels are really small and come into close contact with all of the cells in our body. Their role is to exchange substances with our cells, giving them useful nutrients and oxygen, and taking away waste products like carbon dioxide. If we take a closer look at a single capillary, we can see how they're adapted to this function. For example, their walls are only a single cell thick, and they're also permeable, which means that substances can easily diffuse through them. Because they're so tiny, the lumen of an individual capillary is also tiny. But there are so many of them that their total cross-sectional area, which is just the area of all the capillaries added together, is actually huge, far higher than for arteries. This means that the pressure of the blood is much lower than in the arteries, and so it flows more slowly, which gives the blood time to exchange things with the tissues. Finally, these tiny capillaries start to join up into larger vessels called veins, which transport the blood back to the heart. Veins are relatively large, with by far the biggest lumens of any blood vessels. They also have relatively thin walls, with only small layers of elastic fibers and smooth muscle. This works fine though, because the blood that they carry is at very low pressures, so the walls don't need to be very strong. The important thing to remember about veins though, is that they have valves, which prevent blood from flowing backwards, ensuring that it always flows towards the heart. Before we finish, let's quickly cover how to calculate the rate of blood flow. A typical question could look something like this. 2,560 ml of blood passes through the aorta, which is the big artery that leaves the heart, in 8 minutes. Calculate the rate of blood flow through the aorta in milliliters per minute. So in a question like this, we would just divide how much blood has flowed, so 2,560, by the time it took, so 8 minutes, which gives us 320 milliliters per minute. And that's all for the blood vessels. If you haven't seen our other videos on the heart and the blood yet, we put the links for those in the description below. Otherwise, cheers for watching, and we'll see you next time.
I hope you paid close attention to that video second year, because you need to fill out this table using the information from it. So what I want you to do is, I've given you the 3 types of blood vessel we're looking at, and I want you to tell me a little bit about the structure of them and the job, the function that they perform. In your jotter, take the heading coronary heart disease. Coronary heart disease, or CHD, is one of the biggest killers in Scotland. In fact, it has been the leading cause of death in Scotland for the past several years, although mortality rates have been decreasing over the past decade. In CHD, the coronary arteries are narrowed by a build-up of fatty substances which interrupt blood flow to the heart. So in this diagram, you can see the normal blood flow through the coronary artery here, and then we can see some fat starting to build up and blood flow starting to be impacted. As it gets worse, as the fat build-up gets worse, the blood passage narrows, and when the blood supply to part of the heart becomes completely blocked off, like in this image, the result is a sudden and potentially fatal heart attack because the blood cannot reach the muscle, and so the muscle starts to die. Task 3 is a coronary heart disease information poster. So I want you to create a poster on CHD. You can use one page in your jotter, you can create it in a Word document, a single PowerPoint slide. It is entirely up to you. And what you're going to do is you'll just upload this poster with your lesson 3 jotter work into the same assignment. So these are the things that your poster must have, okay? You must describe what CHD is. You must talk about the risk factors of CHD. So who is more likely to get CHD and why? You must talk about the symptoms that people might feel they might be displaying if they've got CHD, and also discuss some treatment options for CHD. That is us finished these lessons on the heart now second year. So what I want you to do for today is to 1, complete all the work in this video, 2, take a photo of that work in your jotter and upload it to the lesson 3 part 2 jotter work assignment, and 3, complete the lesson 3 the heart quiz, which you will also find in the assignments tab. That's the lesson finished for today, second years. Now remember, when you are timetabled to be in science, I will be on the team during that time. So if you need to speak to me or ask me about anything, just pop a quick message in the question and answer channel. Make sure that you are tagging me using the @ key so that I get a notification that you've posted a message. Have a good day.